We want to be big and we want to be bold. And I have found that over time, that boldness, that bigness, it changes. I'm not saying that it goes away completely, but it does change. And I've come to appreciate smaller gestures and different things versus what I expected. The go out to a big fancy restaurant, get really, really dressed up. I want you to romance me. I want the flowers, the champagne, or a trip or whatever, like big grand gestures. And now as we're getting older, the appreciation is for different things.
Oh my God, he mowed the lawn.
He mowed the lawn. I know, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Like he mowed the lawn.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I know. Hey, he washed the dishes
It's a very
the
bad
way
joke.
that I
I'm
want.
sorry.
No. Welcome to the Womanhood Lectures. I'm Yasmin.
And I'm Lyra.
On today's show, we're going to be talking about romance and our top 10 tips for you men to romance your women. We're really hoping that this will be helpful for you. And ladies, if there are things that we talk about that you think don't really belong, or you have other things that you think we should be adding to our list, please put those in the comments and we will be sure to respond to you guys. So on that note, Lyra, are you a romantic or not a romantic person?
I am a total romantic.
Ooh, I love
it. I think what happens is when we're in a relationship for as long as you and I have been in a relationship.
Oh my gosh, decades.
It's you question whether or not the romance has died. And you want to be able to talk about the things that like matter to you, to your partner. Yeah. And your partner looks at you like, what? Like, what are you talking about? It's almost like a different language that we're speaking. We did a show on love languages.
Yes.
And typically in a long-term relationship, the romantic period, the lustful period, the period where you desire your woman or partner, it's 2 years. That's the average. Ooh. It dies after 2 years.
So that honeymoon stage is very short.
Oh, yes.
If you're in a long-term relationship, right? If you're only in these short, sort of, quick, somewhat short relationships, but they're serial monogamy, which some people do.
Right.
You kind of always feel like you're always in love and it's always like lovely and wonderful. And then you don't actually ever get to see what the rest of a relationship looks like and how it looks like to grow with somebody and have kids or, build a life together.
Right. I know.
So romance. So you're a romantic person.
I'm a very romantic person.
Oh.
I would say that, I talk about these things with my partner and I find that, because we're in such conflict today and we've talked about the conflict, when you go on Instagram, for example, you have several reels, several people, several experts talking about love, talking about relationships, talking about, hey, if you want to romance your wife, do this. Hey, if you want to keep the spark alive, do this. It's really easier said than done, especially when you're in a long-term relationship, because you're looking at your partner and I'm like, I don't know. Like, can you really do that?
How do you get that juju going again?
Has he ever done that? Like, am I asking him to be somebody that he's not?
Okay.
Am I pushing him in a way to be like, hey, listen, this is what I need? And he's looking at me like, what? You already have everything. You have everything you want, right?
Okay.
We're busy also. So careers, children, and honestly, when we have children, the romance just takes a back seat.
It does take a back seat.
Your children sleep in the same bed sometimes. Right. And you're like, what? Like, you lose that connection. And there's a lot of people who experience that through marriage. So when you're going through those experts and all those people online, there's so much different information that's being sent over to you, right? You're kind of just always inundated with that, especially if you're just randomly, me and you were talking about something related to relationships.
Yes.
10 minutes later, I surf the net and it's giving me all of the relationship advice I could possibly want.
Yes, they're listening all the time.
Right. So there's the battle between the masculine and feminine. Yes. And how do you do that? Like, how do you say to your partner, this is what I need, this is what I want, and then what do you do? What do you do to keep it alive?
Well, how is it different though than when you were younger? Because I know that romance to me was different when I was first dating and when I was like in my early 20s versus now, like what a romantic gesture would be like for me now. Some of it's very similar and some of it is totally different.
Right.
Right. I feel like when we're younger, we're always looking for that big grand gesture. You know,
Right.
you're looking for someone to be like, you know, I don't know, holding up a big sign and saying, you know, I love you, and like shouting it from the rooftops. And it's because you
Right.
kind of feel that way, right? Like we
Right.
feel that excitement. We feel that connection, and we feel like that passion.
Right.
And so we want to be big and we want to be bold. And I have found that over time, that boldness, that bigness, it changes. I'm not saying that it goes away completely, but it does change. And I've come to appreciate smaller gestures and different things versus what I expected. You know, the go out to a big fancy restaurant, get really, really
Right.
dressed up. I want you to romance me. I want the flowers, the champagne, right? Or a trip or whatever, like big grand gestures. And now as we're getting older,
Yeah.
the appreciation is for different things.
Oh my God, he mowed the lawn. He mowed the lawn.
He mowed the lawn. I know, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Like he mowed the lawn.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so good.
I know. Hey, he washed the dishes
Very
the
bad
way
joke.
that I
I'm
want.
sorry.
No, I mean, right?
No,
those
it's
are
true.
the
Like we
things.
appreciate, I think we learn to appreciate the small things that make life easier. But at the same time, I think the best way to put it is, and I said this actually to my partner, you want to know that the other person is actually thinking about you and your best interest,
Yes.
and what would
Yes.
make you happy and what would make you feel good, like what would make that person smile, what would like, obviously we go our separate ways in the morning, what would make the other person happy that day.
Yeah. Or leave for the day with leaving with a good taste in your mouth.
Right.
About
a
your
good feeling,
right. A good feeling. Yeah.
good feeling of like, oh, I'm in a good situation and
Yeah.
I love my life and
Yeah.
I can't wait to, conquer today and then
Right.
get back to my family.
So
right?
that sounds like support. That
It
sounds
sounds
like
like support.
feeling supported.
Right.
In some way, shape, or form, and feeling maybe acknowledged and appreciated.
Yes,
Yes. It's funny because men want the same thing.
they do.
Men love to be appreciated and acknowledged and have that sort of like respect, right? And women, in the same way, we want to be appreciated and acknowledged and connected.
I think
Right.
men like romance too.
Yeah.
I don't know if men always have to do the romancing.
True.
But
True.
I think that they like it. They like to know that they're like being spoken to in a good way. Like, it's kind of like, hey baby, you look great today.
Yes.
Right? Like
Yes.
some sort of messaging.
Right.
Either by text or, if you see them.
Totally agree.
To be able to bring them up. So I think men enjoy that just as much.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
women
yeah.
do.
I agree. That reminds me. So last weekend, or maybe it was the weekend before, it was my husband's birthday.
Okay.
I took him out, and he's someone who loves to get. So we're very different
This
in the
is
sense
not
of
an X-rated
No.
show. I'm just letting you know this.
No. I will not be talking about the birthday gifts behind closed doors. But he likes to go shopping and pick things that he really likes. Like he's specific about gifts, right?
Right.
Whereas I'm the opposite. I like to be surprised.
Okay.
If you take me shopping and say pick something, I'll be like, no, I hate that. Do not take me shopping and ask me to pick something. But he wants to know what I like. So on the opposite end, I'm like, it's great for him if I go, hey, I'm going to take you shopping. Pick anything today, baby. It's your birthday, right?
Right.
So we went out, and just for fun, I got him to try on some suits because he has like a really old suit that I'm like, hey, next time we go out, I'd really like you to have something nice and new and sharp, and like, let's take a
Right.
look. So we were shopping around. I got him to try on some suits, and I was just like, even in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, he's so hot. I'm so happy. Like, I'm just like so happy that he's mine, right? And so I was telling him even then, I was like, babe, like this looks amazing on you. You've never tried this color on. Like that looks great. Da da da. And I could just kind of tell that he was like, okay, yeah, she still likes, she's still attracted to me, and like it's nice to be complimented,
sweet,
right?
Of course.
So I agree with you. Like men like to have that as well, that sort of positive affirmation, that those words of affirmation, right?
Yes.
Which is one of our love languages.
Right.
And it works both ways.
It does.
Yeah. But this show is about helping our guys out there,
Right.
giving them some ideas, tips and tricks. This is not everything, but just some ideas around things that you could be doing, and even some like real practical strategies, things you can be doing that don't cost a lot of money, that don't take up a ton of your time, but they do take an effort on your part. So it's going to take some effort for you to keep the romance alive in your relationship. And it requires some attention and your energy and some thought, right? Like I think that's where sometimes we get so tired because we're so inundated and we're so busy, and you're going to do this and I'm going to do that, and you're delineating all this stuff, that things become more like lists.
Yeah.
And so you forget that the person in front of you is a human being who wants to feel loved and special and beautiful, right? And so women like to feel beautiful, comfortable in their bodies, right? And so if a man can make you feel that way with either a thoughtful gesture, a nice compliment, or in some way, shape, or form, make you feel special and beautiful and like you're special to him, right? And that you're that extra that he wants to look at you versus someone else, that's beautiful.
Right. Well, like, from a woman's perspective, I want to interject, especially after having kids, we're not the same. Yeah. Majority of women would love, if they haven't bounced back immediately, would love to have their bodies back, right? I think it's somewhat part of the experience, but when a man is just in love with you regardless of what you look like, and willing to overlook and at least wanting to spend time with you and wanting to be physical with you, wanting to express love, having the other love languages, which is like touch and the intimacy aspect of it. I think that's important too, is that men and women share that throughout their marriage. Right?
Oh, that's a huge connection over time for sure. And so I don't know, let me give you some of my tops.
Okay.
Some real things that men can do. Okay. So number 1, plan an activity from start to finish.
Okay.
With no input from your lady, from your partner. So for example,
this could go sideways. Really.
Where is your mind today, girl?
I know,
Where
right?
is your
mind?
No,
like what? Give me an example.
So here's an example. So let's just say you're going to have a date night, which a lot of my friends, I do the same thing. We have our date nights, right? If you want to allow your partner, so I'm going to just say my husband, for example, if he planned a date night and I didn't have to think about where I was going to go, what I was going to do, nothing, that would be so amazing, because I spend so much time during the week planning and preparing and setting it all up, that it would be so nice for me to be able to just take that off my mind and let him just do all the planning. Let him figure out where we're going. Let him even suggest to me, like, let him even surprise me and say like, hey, we're going out tonight, babe. Why don't you wear X, Y, Z? Or like kind of show me like it's going to be dressier, not dressier, whatever, like that type of thing, so that I know what I'm supposed to wear type of thing. But yeah, it would be nice if I didn't have to plan something, and from beginning to end. So like, don't even ask me where, the time, like what are we going to do after coming, like all of that stuff. I want you to plan the whole night.
Wow.
And just
so what
allow
about if a
me
guy
to relax.
says to you, like, and they're probably watching this right now, like, I can't do that. I've never done that. My wife does all of that stuff.
Right. So part of keeping the romances alive, like I said, is to take the effort and the time
and to step out of their comfort
zone, to
zone.
find out what are the things that she likes. So here's another thing that I can suggest. Find out what your woman likes. Like, does she like Italian food versus sushi? That's an easy thing for you to figure out, right? Does she like more casual? Does she like dressy places? What's her favorite wine? What's her favorite I don't know, dessert. What's her favorite flower? What's her favorite color? Like, what are the things that she's into? Figure her out. Like, you're in this long-term relationship. You should start to really take an interest in your partner. What is it that they are interested in? What are the things that they prefer? You know some of their preferences. Use that to your advantage, right? You can use that to create something really beautiful, a beautiful night where you'll have amazing quality time together, and she'll be so impressed with you.
Aww.
Right? I don't know. I think some of those things are obviously they take some time and effort. They take no money, not the date part. I get that. But, just taking the time to get to know your partner does not take money. It takes your effort. It takes your engagement with her. Right? It takes your commitment to like, I want to get to know you. Right? At the beginning of your relationship, didn't you find that you were just like, I want to know everything about you. You're up till 4:00 in the morning on the phone, chatting. Like, you want to know everything about this person because why do we do that? Because we want so much to give to them. We want to be able to give things to them. We want to be able to like feel like we're right with them in their life. So when you're married, you want to try and bring a little bit of that back. I want to get to know who you are now. Maybe it's changed over the last 20 years that you've been together. Maybe my favorite color and flower used to be red roses and now I like pink peonies.
Yeah.
Maybe you should ask me once in a while, right? So just little things like that. What's one tip that you would give men?
In terms of that, like
in terms of the like kind of trying to romance your wife all over again. What's one thing that you would suggest? So I said plan an activity from start to finish, for example.
You know what? I think like writing something out, like writing a letter or writing something inspiring. Like I stick back to that like text message thing.
Yes.
You would text message your man and be like, you look hot today.
Yes.
Tell me if you need anything at work. Yeah. I think words are really empowering and impactful. Write a letter, like remind her. I know like sometimes I see Facebook posts and there's a husband acknowledging their wife and they're like, I'm so happy that I actually met you as opposed to anybody else on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And I'm happy I get to spend this life with you.
Yeah.
So words are so impactful. I think women really appreciate words.
Yeah, I agree.
Just and like words can hurt.
Right.
Words can actually empower and lift and
heal
and create love and heal and create. And it just makes our day. So
that's number 2. So beautiful words. So whether it's a letter, whether it's a card, whether it's even just a text message or a little sticky note.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be so nice to like go into your bathroom in the morning? So guys, leave a cute little sticky note on her mirror to say like, hey babe, I love you. Hey babe, like you did this thing yesterday or anything. Like go slay your day, right? Yes. Do that. That's easy, short, right to the point. So that was actually one of the things I thought about too, like those sort of text messages, just because. Like check in just because, not because you're checking to see what she's done or what the next thing is, just something about her. Okay. So my next thing that I suggested is cleaning the house without being asked. I know it's so boring, but hell yes.
That would turn me right on. No, like
come
honestly,
to a clean house and you're just like, oh my God, what just happened?
My husband,
and it doesn't have to be perfect, but like you can tell the difference.
Yes.
When you come home and people have tidied it up for you.
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
And my husband has told me once, he's like, I love how clean the house is when he comes home, right?
Yes.
And then I'm like, hint, like, duh. Like, that is like the best thing you could do for a woman is like just take a load off of her.
Yes.
Especially
some sort
if
of
she's
responsibility.
The person that's responsible for it.
Right.
Not to say men don't clean. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, it does help. It does help to take a load off. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're the one, if you do stuff 50-50, that's fine. Do her 50 once in a while.
I know, right?
Do her 50. So do the 100% just to surprise her.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, she will so appreciate it. She'll be like, oh my gosh, he really cares about me. I know, cleaning, right? What about, so I thought about something like cooking a meal. And I'm not saying you have to be a gourmet chef.
Or that you have to eat it, but you...
But you put the effort in to taking something off her plate that day, right?
Yes.
To taking a task out of her many tasks. You just do it. Just go ahead.
There's so many
even
ways.
if you order in.
Yeah.
Right? It's the thing of, I don't have to plan a meal. I don't have to think of everyone for tonight.
For tonight, yeah.
Right? You're going to do it.
But let's just say you are considering doing a romantic dinner. Like, I find that you can go on Instagram, you can go on YouTube, you can go on
TikTok.
a lot of TikToks. You can go or you can go on several apps where you literally can learn how to cook something very quickly.
Right.
You
One
know?
meal.
Information
From
is
start
there,
to finish.
you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
like
With
there's
videos.
There's a great app that I use, and it's literally 10 ingredients or less.
Ooh.
Where, you know, you can make some chicken, a couple of spices here, and vegetables. Like, you can't mess that up. Like, you can't. It literally gives you basic instructions.
Yes.
So you can't complain and say, I don't know how to cook. Of course, it's like so much easier these days to learn.
It is. Or get a food kit.
Right.
Like
or if
HelloFresh or
put
whatever.
Together for sure.
Yeah, and it's all laid out for you.
Right.
So cook a meal for her. Cook a meal. Yeah, I love that.
She likes to eat. And she wants to eat when she gets
She
home
wants
from
to
a
eat.
long day.
Yes. So that's a third thing. So here's something that my husband has done, which I find incredibly thoughtful, is he has over the years figured out my size in clothing, my size in shoes, my ring size. And when he goes to buy a gift, when it's the next time to buy a gift, he knows exactly what to get me. And even in terms of like a style that I would like. So he's paid attention enough to say, she likes these colors, she doesn't like this, she would probably wear that versus that. And then he knows exactly what to buy. And I can tell you, every single gift I've gotten for the past, I don't know, almost 2 decades now, I've never had to return anything because I've always loved it.
Oh, that's
Whenever
amazing.
it's been something material, he really has taken the time to get to know what would look good on me, what I would like, what I'd be even comfortable in, and then he will buy that for me, say for a birthday or an anniversary or whatever. So guys, figure your women out. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing. It's wonderful when someone can just go and like pick up something for you and it works and you love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even if you're like, sometimes I'm at the store and I'll be like, hey, you know, I think he'd like this, and I'll grab it. Right. We like that too.
Yes, I was going to say that was
we
my
like that
next
too,
thing.
where
Yes.
you stop and you say, I think you're like, I think she'd like this.
Yes.
And grab it
Yeah.
and surprise her.
Right.
Like just randomly. It doesn't have to be just at Christmas or Valentine's Day. Like it's just a thought that,
Yes.
you know, you're thinking about her. Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Yes. So yes, that's another one. So number 5, those sort of random surprises, those thoughtful gestures of like, unexpected, and just kind of knowing something that she might like that you would pick up for her.
Right.
Yeah.
And know like what she wants to eat.
Yes.
That's number 5, I believe.
Yes.
Like know what she wants to eat.
Yes.
Know what she likes to drink. Know like what
Yeah.
all her taste
favorites
buds-
are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all her favorites, her taste, right? Because it'll just give you so much more information to work with when you're stuck, when you need something, when you're like, oh, I need to get a gift for her. I know she likes these things, or I know, right? Get to know your partner.
Right.
And I know it sounds very general, but when you apply it very specifically, you'll see that it gives you so much to work with in terms of putting into your positive bank of your relationship, which we have talked about before as well. So what did we talk about? We talked about
the surprise gift.
Yes,
we talked about,
her likes and dislikes, knowing her really, really well, knowing some very specifics about her, like her size. And here's one that I think kind of ties into our, sending a nice text or having, beautiful words, but think about how to pursue her again. So pursue your partner in a way.
I don't even know what that means. Sorry.
So it's things like, what would you have done at the beginning of your relationship that you've kind of let fall by the wayside? Pursuing that act of pursuing your partner is something that we often, after a period of time, women do it too. We just forget. We just kind of leave it and we're like, oh, that's cheesy, or that's like, I did that 20 years ago. But it's kind of nice to be pursued. So in a way, it's kind of like sending a text message, leaving love notes around. It's, kind of being that sort of active initiator of like, hey, I want to spend time with you. Hey, I want to, it's that we used to do that at the beginning of the relationship when we were saying like, I want to get to know you. I want to spend time with you. When are you going to be free?
Right.
Right. When can I call you?
Right.
So something along those lines, I think in a really subtle way would work just as well when you've been married for, 20 years.
I think a lot of people are going to be like, what is she talking about?
I know.
I've been married so long. I don't even know what that means.
Yes.
How do I even start that? Like, is it even possible?
Yeah.
She doesn't even like me. Like, I don't know.
How did you make her like you in the first place?
So is it like a slow progress? Like, it's not going to happen overnight. Like, I'm not going to suddenly start acting like I'm pursuing her and then she's going to be like, all on board. Like she might be mad at you this week.
Right.
So
right.
maybe wait till next week. I don't know. I
mean, you know what it is? It's kind of giving your partner the feeling that you're anticipating them in some way. You're anticipating spending time with them. You're anticipating seeing them at the end of the day.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Right? So it's that little bit of anticipation, which is very exciting.
It is.
Right? It's exciting for you as a human being to know that someone's like waiting for you, or they're looking to see you, right? Yes. It's going to brighten their day in some way. So conveying that. And I guess words are probably the easiest, right? Text messages, sending her something in the middle of the day, sending her even a Starbucks coffee in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Send her favorite drink and be like, babe, I'm thinking of you. Oh my God, what? Come on.
Yes.
Yeah. So something like that. Okay. So what do you think about physical intimacy in terms of, I know you've said it's important. Obviously there's that connection. On the flip side, I think that it's really important to be physically connected to your partner without the expectation that it has to lead to sex and it has to lead to intimacy in a specific way. So the hugging, the touching, the cuddling, watching a movie and cuddling, right? Without the expectation that this needs to lead anywhere. This is like just me and you in this moment. I just want to hug you, or I just want to be close to you. That physical touch is so beautiful, I think, for women especially, to feel like I'm connected with you, that you love me, and that you don't just want something from me.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like we don't have to follow through. And there are times when it's like, I think as a young woman, you're always feeling this pressure of like, well, of course he wants this to go somewhere, so it's got to go somewhere, right? It's nice to feel like your partner just wants to be around you without that.
Right.
Without it having to lead there.
But I think if you're comfortable with your partner and you're an intimate experience,
absolutely.
Like it actually promotes a good, healthy sexual relationship as well.
Yes.
Part of that is, when you're leaving in the morning, you've got to kiss your wife. Like kiss her before you leave to work, kiss her when you come home, be actively trying to be in a physical relationship.
Yes.
Because those things are really important. Like you never know when your life is going to end.
Yeah. Or things could change drastically.
Exactly. So you want to be in the action of having an intimate relationship.
Yeah.
Because that's something that we leave behind as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So staying connected that way. Okay. So here's another thing. And I know we've talked about date nights. So the premise of this is spend some uninterrupted time with your woman, with your partner. And that means the phone's away for a little while, maybe no screens, like just actually talking.
Yes.
Do it over a meal if you need to. Do it with another activity if you have to.
Go for a
hike. But no kids.
Picnic,
go for a walk. Like
yeah.
Just the two of you. This is how you got to know each other at the beginning of your relationship. Treat it like I'm trying to get to know you again. Yeah. Right? I'm trying to figure out who is the woman in front of me now? Who are you now after 2 decades or a decade or whatever it is? I want to figure you out all over again, right? It's that interest in the person and vice versa, right? Like I want to get to know who is my husband now. He's a very different man than
was 18 years
ago.
Because we evolve and we grow.
Of course,
and we change.
Of course. You have different change. Like you think differently. So you want to kind of figure that person out all over again. So uninterrupted time together. It doesn't have to be a long, but the quality is more important than the quantity.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So don't worry about having it be some big extravaganza. It's like, let's do a 20-minute walk together
Yes.
tonight. I just
Let's
feel
have a
like
picnic,
yeah,
or let's let's
Yeah.
go to the beach.
something.
Something.
It's just the two of you, just alone. You can connect with each other. You can look the other person in the eyes instead of passing them in the hallway and being like, you got to go do this. I got to go do that. See you later. Right. You're like, really? Because even just that kind of a connection will spark the romance, the eroticism, the beautiful connection that you can have with your partner. Right. Just
Right.
that alone. So spending uninterrupted time together. That's my number 9. And then the last one is doing the small, thoughtful gestures, which I kind of mentioned earlier. It's things like, do you know your morning routine? Make her coffee in the morning,
Right.
or her a smoothie in the morning if she goes to work out, right? Or at the end of the day, maybe it's doing some small, thoughtful gesture for her, like, I don't know. Does she like her feet rubbed? Does she like you to, I don't know, lay her favorite book out that, for before bed? Just small things that there's a lot of practical things that you could be doing
Like put the
at home.
toilet seat down.
Yes. Yes. That would be really, really helpful.
I
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
right?
I get that. Like, what are some little things if you had to say, hey, could you maybe, like, you would be surprised and delighted?
Yeah, like picking up something from the store that I'm missing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
If something's broken in the house, fixing it, like
Yep.
things like that that I need, like that are going to help with my life.
Right.
So I don't have to call somebody to go do it.
Yes.
Or
Okay.
yeah, like if I'm run out of coffee, like I'm not gonna be happy.
Yeah.
So it's probably good you like notice it somehow or pay attention and
Yeah.
go to the store and get it. Gestures like just to make life easier. If
Yeah.
you notice that I'm in showings all day at work, having dinner when I get home, just so that I could eat, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really important.
Yeah. So
Those
really,
gestures are really like they're small.
Yeah.
Over time,
Yes.
they mean so much.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's kind of like, so I see it as like in your relationship with women, what you want to do is you want to keep the pot simmering.
Yes.
It's kind of like you're making this stew, and you keep adding little, spices here and ingredients. And so as a man, think of your life like that with your partner. You want to keep putting in that spice here and there, the flavorings, little by little, say over a week, over a month. All of that stuff is going to come back to you tenfold.
Right.
Like, I kind of see it like maybe as a man, you can think of it as like, how do you invest your money? You continually put some money away into, say, a stock.
Right.
And you leave it there, and then it
And it
compounds
grows.
and it grows,
Yes.
right? There are going to be times when it might go down, but eventually over time, you're putting in that positive and it's going to grow. It's the same thing with your relationship, right? It's like you put those pennies in your piggy bank, and then eventually you have some money in there.
Right.
So I always feel like women need to have that kind of constant and continual little stuff being put into the relationship, so that they can then, women will make things grow, right? You give a woman some anything, and she
then
will
multiply it.
she will multiply it. She will make it flourish. You give her a small thoughtful gesture, she'll make you a meal,
Yeah.
right? Like this is how we are kind of wired, and how we're also socialized.
Yes.
Is we're quite giving, right? So you give us a little, and we're just gonna make it into something
of
beautiful,
course.
right?
Yeah.
So I would say that's something that that men can be doing as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as women, I think we just have to be receptive.
Yes.
And patient, maybe, if we need to be, to let them do those gestures over time and
Yeah.
see how your relationship can get spicier and better.
Yes.
And be open to change. Yes. 100%.
Yeah. Wonderful. So I'm going to do a really quick recap of our top 10. And then we'll see you guys off today. So 1, plan an activity from start to finish. 2, clean the house without being asked. 3, cook a meal and clean it up. 4, know her favorite things, her favorite food, drink, flowers, color. 5, find out her size in clothing, rings, shoes, anything like that, for gift giving. Number 6, pay attention to her interests and surprise her with a gift around that interest. Number 7, continue to pursue her. So love notes, text messages, compliments, all are welcome. Number 8, be physical without any pressure to be intimate. Of course, if it leads to intimacy, even better for both of you, right?
Everyone's happy.
But let that pot simmer.
Yeah.
Don't have the expectation all the time that it has to go somewhere. Keep putting in your 2 cents here and there. Number 9, spend uninterrupted time together. So those are your date nights. Those are your quality time that you can carve out together. And number 10, small thoughtful gestures like making coffee in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And putting the toilet seat down.
Putting the toilet seat down. Oh my gosh! And please pick up your socks off the floor.
Dirty laundry. Okay, no.
Do you have anything else that you wanted to add to that?
No, you like hit all the nails on the head.
Oh, so, beautiful. Yeah. All right. Well, we hope this was fun and helpful for you guys today. Please like and share if you find this content of value to you. Add your comments underneath, and we will see you next time.